Hey all you Bigfoot enthusiasts out there. I put together a little video for you, and for those that seen the post on the community tab, what I believe are two Bigfoot on the other side of this little cornfield. If you remember back a little bit, where I had captured those two beings upriver from me, I had been walking up and down along the water, and I had finished up there. When you look at that, when you look at the raw footage, the original footage, you can see that the one standing there that looks all cloaked in, it almost looks like leaves. And the one that's in the water, I'm not sure if he's in the water or if he's beside the water, but there's kind of a small green bush right in front of him, or a small shrub. If you slow it down and you watch it very close, it's almost look like he's, I don't know if he's pulling something out of the ground or maybe pulling roots. And the thing that persuades me most that these are cryptids, that these are Bigfoot, are the orbs on the top of their heads. Why are these lights right at the top of their heads? And they stay there. They stay stationary. I had a few people asking me if I could go back there and go right there and I guess do a size comparison. I will attempt to do it, but I want to let everybody know that every year that riverbed changes, right? You get all the spring flooding and ice. When the ice is moving out of the rivers, everything unthaws. There's places where it actually reroutes the waterway, right? And takes away some more of the banks and deposits different sandbars from the ones that were there the previous year. In order for me to do that, because at the half a mile upriver from where I was, and there's nobody down there, there's no people there, right? So I would have to take somebody with me. My gear is sitting a half a mile away from me, and I'd have to have somebody there to direct me in, right, as I walk upriver. But I don't know anybody that's brave enough that would come with me and me leave them a half a mile downriver, right, all alone in the middle of nowhere. I'm not sure who would do it, but I'll make an effort. I'll try to find someone. I had finished filming those two, starting gathering up my gear, and I made my way away from the water's edge and went up the riverbank to where my truck was parked, which was parked on the trail that's close to this cornfield. Just beginning to put my stuff away, I started folding everything up and putting cameras in their cases, and I got that feeling, right? I got that feeling that I was being watched, and it is a creepy feeling. Get the tingles up and down your spine and on the top of your head. It always hits me on the top of my head. But anyway, and you know, when I was younger and you get that feeling, it's kind of, once you get that feeling, you kind of want to remove yourself from the area, the environment, and you just kind of want to get out of there. I've kind of changed that into, okay, I'm getting creeped out, I need to get my cameras, right? I kind of turned that around and used it as an opportunity, because my senses are telling me I'm not alone, right? You'll see three beings here, the two in the cornfield, and the first one that you see is a little bit north of the cornfield. I was just kind of scanning the trees along the field at the bottom of the hills, the river hills. I found this one in the footage, and then the next two, and then all of this happened within the same day. The two on the river, on the sandbar, the two at the cornfield, and the one north of the cornfield. So 5 altogether. It wasn't until I got back up to where my vehicle was, and I start filming, I get the whoop, right? I hear that very distinctive whoop. That for me, that and the wood knocks, it's like once I hear them, I'm like, okay, they're here. And I just got to start looking harder. From that point on, you kind of go into Bigfoot mode, right? It's short and sweet. It's another short and sweet video. But before I do that, I want to let everybody know I would like to read some of your guys' emails. I've been getting quite a few emails with people's stories, people's encounters. There's a lot of people having their own Bigfoot experiences and encounters out there, and they've been gracious enough to share them with me. I love them. On that note, I'm going to read somebody's email that was sent to me, and I'm just going to do a shout out right now to Tony. We've been corresponding through email, and he's been calling me Old Eagle Eyes. I love the name. So if you guys see Tony there in the comment section, give him a thumbs up, say hello, and we'll get right into that, and then we'll go right into the video. I would like to do this more often for all of yous, for the subscribers, right? So if any of yous have any stories you'd like me to share, or just even if you want to tell me and you don't want anybody else to know, and it's something you want to keep in between me and yourself, I'm good with that, and I will respect that. Okay, this is from Tony. Hi, Robert. I truly hope you and all the loved ones are doing well. I want to thank you for taking the time to reply and share your knowledge and experiences, thoughts about these beings. I can surely relate, as you have a long-standing family heritage. My great-great-great-grandpa married into the Cahokia Indian tribe from Illinois. He actually married an Indian princess, a chief's daughter, and they moved here eventually. It's a little town in Missouri. Our church is right at 300 years old itself, and we was here long before that, LOL. Okay, my friend, here we go. I've never told this completely to anyone in over 32 years. You pointed out that you were leaning toward the possibility of why and who the Sasquatch people choose to encounter at some level. For a lack of another terminology on my behalf, I know you are 100% correct that hunters don't hunt for the purpose of food, and that it's a sport. And I did for the ones that are new here, I did do a video on hunting and what I thought of our attitudes out in the trees, right, out in the bush, in the whole hunting for sport and killing for money, right? And I just think it's just we're just going down a wrong road anyway. And this is what he's referring to. I know you are 100% correct when you said the hunters don't hunt for the purpose of needing food, and that it's a sport. Because here's what I know to be truth. I hunted this area for over 17 years alone, never seen or heard another person in those woods in that time. 1989, bow season, the place strangely enough is called Indian Creek. I better let you know I had watched an absolute giant walk across the highway about 300 yards from my home when I was 14, winter 1977. Well over 8 feet and at least 1,000 pounds. Okay, back to the hunt. So I was aware of them, and I had heard one yelling out where I hunted. Many times, my 3 cousins and 2 friends I took camping there for a weekend, one year during rifle deer season, and 5 out of 6 of us heard it from about 3 or 4 ridges over. They asked me what that was. I couldn't tell them. I honestly couldn't say the words. I was very glad that finally I was there to see others hearing it. Like I said, I had heard it many times while out by myself looking for deer sign. I just stayed up the creek away from its area in hopes of having no conflict. I honestly was hunting big bucks for sport only, but I always made sure to give the meat to those in need. So to make sure nothing wasted as well. This one beautiful, bright, sunny day, I was heading on foot to my tree stand. After a descent hike getting there, I fortunately smoked cigarettes. I decided to have a smoke and a pee before climbing up to my stand. So I'm just listening to all the sounds. I was just about to bud out my smoke, and I got the idea to grunt call a couple times. Maybe anything in the area would head my way. Kind of get a jump on it, I thought. Man, I grunt called one time, and all hell came immediately crashing, breaking trees, stomping from 80 yards away up the ridge, like a gold medal runner, right down towards me at full speed. I mean, moving. I only had time to squat down exactly where I stood by this tiny little leafless bush, and it stopped less than 30 feet from me, looking at me square in the eyes. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to die right there, right now. I never blinked or moved at all when I realized it had the look of hate and disgust on his face as we looked at one another. It swiftly and meaningfully opened its mouth and then screamed so loud I could feel the shockwaves hit me in my chest. I felt that. Not because they were screaming at me. Wow, okay. My chest and vibrated my entire body. It done this 8 full times, never took our eyes off each other. When it finished, it just spun around and walked over to this young, healthy white oak, reached out at least 9 feet up the tree, which was 4 inches thick at the break, and never slowed down. With one hand, flipped its wrist and pow, snapped it over. And like snorting as it stomped off out of sight. It was pissed at me for hunting for sport and not for the need of food. I know this now, but couldn't for the life of me understand what I could have possibly done. Always picking up everything, including stray cigarette butts and anything trash. I totally respected him, the environment. But my mind only thinking of that massive whitetail wall hanger. That's the facts. The truth, so help me, Robert, I've never wanted or tried to ever film, find, or photo any one of these beings in my life. Still to this day, but somehow they know when and where I am, and seemingly why I'm there. So there is most definitely, as you said, a spiritual aspect to some type coming into play. Thanks, man. I've just dumped 1,000 pounds of Sasquatch off my shoulders. I think he has sent me two emails, or 2 or 3 since this email, and things have changed for him. When I first created the YouTube channel and thought about doing this, my intent and objective was to, if I could reach just a handful of people and change their thinking, respect will go a long ways for anybody that's going out there. I really truly believe that. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but for the newer ones that have come on board, I'm on the other side of the fence. Like you hear there's so much rhetoric and so much negative narratives pushed out about these beings, about them being evil and fallen angels. And when I hear that, and when I hear the comments coming towards me about that, because I know evil, right? I've experienced evil, and I understand good and bad and right from wrong. And if I were to be sensing evil and picking up bad, dreadful feelings when I'm around them, I wouldn't be out there. I would not be out there. Like to say that they're fallen angels, that would be making me going out there trying to connect with, offspring of evil. I find it very insulting. I do want to do a video about all that, like what I believe they are not part of that group. Have to look beyond the physical with them, and we may never ever understand these things fully, but we may have to accept some of the facts, right? Some of these things that we're seeing, that we're documenting, that we're discovering, and just be okay with that. And I kind of want to nip this in the bud too, because I get a lot of flack about this, and I get a lot of emails. People talking about the 411 missing persons with David Pallades. George Norrie interviewed him, and one of the last questions George asked David was, because he's been involved with the 411 missing persons situation for years, and I think most of you know the story there. But anyway, George asked him, he was going down the line of what he thought. Was it UFOs? Was it this? Was it that? And the last question he asked him, what about Sasquatch? What about Bigfoot? And David said no. He doesn't believe Bigfoot has anything to do with these missing people, because he said all things are pointing, and I think it almost looked like he had a hard time even admitting it, but he said it's all pointing to, it is almost like they're literally disappearing, vanishing in thin air. And he said if it was Sasquatch or if it was Bigfoot, there would be some kind of evidence, right? He believes there would be some kind of evidence, something There was a struggle, there was a scuffle, tracks, something. David himself doesn't believe it's Bigfoot. And I don't either. I never ever did. You know, that's kind of why I do what I'm doing. I'm fighting for them, right? And on that note, I'll end this here and we'll get right into the video. But again, thank you, Tony, for the email. He's got a couple more, and I would like to, sure, we'll talk again, him and I. And I'd like to share, there was 2 other emails followed up following this one. And for him, things have changed a little bit since that first one. And if he's okay, I would like to share those as well at some point down the road. But for all of you too, if there's any of you that want me to tell your story or something you experienced yourself, it doesn't necessarily have to be specifically Bigfoot. It could be, you know, any other cryptids that are out there. I'm sure there are others. And or UFOs, because they're out there. I'll put my email address here. It's on the bottom of the screen here for you all right now. And yeah, just email me and let me know. But let me know, you know, if I can use your name, or if you don't want your name used, those kind of things, right? Give me the do's and don'ts and the whatnots. So we'll get on with the video. It was shot in 2019. Everybody take care. I hope you guys are all staying safe, and we'll see you in the trees. I just heard a whoop. I'm sure you can see this fence here, this fence line. It's to fence in the corn field, just back there. It's actually coming up pretty good.